The rise in extreme conservatism is directly correlated to the rise in interest of horror, specifically tradwife horror. In this essay, I will. Unfortunately, I don't have time to write an essay, but I truly believe that all the tradwife horror that we're seeing is in response to the way that our society is moving, and it is very scary. But at least I get really cool and fun tradwife horror books to read. I am planning on reading 4 different ones in this, so I do want to read the Stepford Wives because I've never read it or watched it. It's kind of like the blueprint for a lot of this, I feel, and I'm excited about it. It's also super short, wasn't expecting that. Next, I'm going to be reading Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke. I don't think this is necessarily a horror book. I think it's more like literary fiction, maybe a thriller. I do think it's being marketed as a literary fiction. It's already being turned into a movie by Anne Hathaway, which is crazy. And there's so much hype around it. So I am a little bit nervous. Also, people's opinions on this one, super divisive. People either seem to love it or hate it. So obviously I'm intrigued and I have to find out for myself. Then there are 2 books called Tradwife. One of them is by Saratoga Schaefer. It is already out. It's very pink. I'm very intrigued by it. It was also an aardvark pick. If you too would like that book, you can use my code madmax4 to get your first book for $4 and free shipping. And then the other one called Tradwife by Sarah Langan, who I haven't read anything by, I don't think yet. This doesn't come out in the US until September, but it has already come out in the UK, so I do have my grubby little hand on it. And I'm very excited to try these, see what I think. A lot of these covers are quite good, very intriguing, and I am horrified by the prospect of being a tradwife, so I think it will be a very effective horror for me. Let's get into the vlog. I've started my first book. I didn't realize the Stepford Wives was so tiny. I also didn't realize that this is the same author that wrote Rosemary's Baby, and that she wrote other things, including A Kiss Before Dying and The Boys from Brazil. It was written in 1988, so it is much older than anything else I'm planning on reading. But I wanted to, compare and contrast. We like to do that here. And I am officially on chapter 2, which is exactly halfway through. There's only 3 chapters. And we are following Joanna, who has just moved with her husband Walter to Stepford, which is a town. And all of these women have zero interest in socializing, doing really anything outside of the home other than taking care of their toddler husbands and doing housework. And Joanna is, you could call her a feminist, wants to be involved in things, talk to men as equals. Shocking. Totally out of the realm of possibility, obviously. And she also is a mother, though. She has 2 children. And it seems like when they first moved there, her and Walter are very much equals. Walter will take care of the kids, without her having to ask. He is also very much a parent. It's not like he's babysitting them. And she is a complete person with interests. She likes to take pictures. She likes to do other things. She likes to play tennis. And has found 2 women in this town to be friends with. One of them, though, has, after a few days alone with her husband, completely switched. Doesn't want anything to do with them anymore, really, and just wants to be the perfect housewife. She used to play tennis. She was a real, spitfire, I guess. She was super into astrology, and she's a Scorpio, and now she's just not like that at all. And Joanna's other friend Bobby, like a normal woman, not a housewife, wants to move away from this town, is convinced there's a chemical somewhere that is making these women like this. It could be the answer. I'm not sure what it is yet. I think the writing is fine. I'm really glad that it is this short because it's definitely not horror necessarily. It's very much like a literary fiction, maybe even like a sci-fi kind of situation, but I'm interested to see how this compares to everything else. Because obviously, the tradwife influencer anything hasn't happened yet, but it's the 80s. It's not like you have to be a traditional housewife anymore. I think women can have credit cards at this point and own property and stuff, so they are independent people, in fact. But I will let you know my final thoughts after this. I filmed myself finishing the Stepford Wives. But I had also just woken up and I wanted to, you know, get myself together, maybe like brush my teeth before I talk to you about it. I know it doesn't actually matter, but it's like the next day because I had things to do, places to go, people to see. But I think that this didn't do anything special, and it was also written 80 years ago. So 40 years ago. If I had read this 40 years ago, probably would have blown my mind. But now so many things have been inspired by the Stepford Wives that this doesn't feel new, but like this is the blueprint. With that in mind, I think I'm giving this 4 stars. I liked it. I really liked our main character. I think that she was, you know, not originally in like that housewife mindset, and seeing her forced into that box by a husband who she had trusted previously, crazy. And seeing her friends fall before her, also super scary. Like, this is scary, and we don't get a lot of answers to how or why this is happening, but it's happening. The town of Stepford, it's sure happening. So I thought this was really solid, and I think it was also as long as it needed to be. It was only just over 100 pages. I've also started my next book. Yesteryear has had so much hype around it, and I am 20 pages in. I have thoughts. We are following Natalie Heller Mills. She's had some quotes so far that, wow, and we're getting a little bit of her morning routine right now, but also a little bit of an interview just to get more of her opinions and views on things. She's insane. She's a narcissist, and she has 5 or 6 children. She has this beautiful, perfect life online, but she also has 2 nannies, a person who like does the social media stuff for her, and they live on a farm, and they have multiple farm hands. But from the perspective of the viewer, she just like does it all. And that's crazy. A flawless Christian woman, the manic pixie American dream girl of the nation's deepest, darkest fantasies. A wave of nausea passed over me, and I suffered beneath the shadow. Sometimes it actually made me sick. How perfect my life was and how good I was at living it. Please. That's the thing about being a mother and a wife and an influencer all at the same time. It's basically like breastfeeding 3 babies simultaneously, like seducing 3 lovers at once. Maybe we shouldn't compare breastfeeding and seduction. And there's another quote that I can't find. I must have not marked it, but her oldest daughter is 12, and she's like, yeah, I have to watch her. She's basically an adult now and evil. She's 12. It's like, oh my god. Let's relax. Definitely like an unhinged, unlikable narrator, which is something that I enjoy. And I'm really ready for her to get thrown into the 1800s, because that's the premise of this one. A traditional American woman, a beautiful wife and mother who sells her pioneer lifestyle of raw milk and farm fresh eggs to her millions of social media followers, suddenly awakens cold, filthy, and terrified in a brutal reality of 1805, where she must unravel whether this living nightmare is an elaborate hoax, a twisted reality show, or something far more sinister. I'm so excited. I did not know how this one was going to go, because I do think that this one is more like literary fiction and definitely marketed more to the masses, like it's a Good Morning America pick. So I was like, I don't know if this is going to be enough for me, but so far I'm having a great time. I'll keep you updated with my thoughts. We are also watching a show tonight that I think kind of ties in a little bit. It's called Righteous Gemstones, and it's about this TV evangelical family, and one of them is married, and the woman is just like wanting to be a perfect devoted wife. So very on brand, but it's also very funny. It's like created by Danny McBride, and he's also in it. It's very silly so far. We've only watched a couple episodes, but I would recommend it so far. And there is at least one trad wife there. I'm about halfway through Yesteryear, and oh my god, she's insane. We've gotten to the point where she has gotten put back into the 1805, woke up, and her husband's kind of the same, and her children are different though. And the house and the place that she's at is the same, but obviously it looks very different for it being in 1805. Obviously, we don't condone domestic abuse. It's not the victim's fault. But also, she spit into her husband's face and slapped him or something when she like tried to run away, and he caught her, and then she's shocked that he hit her. I think that is to be expected of an 1800s country boy. And then she got her foot caught in a bear trap. And now she's just like basically drugged all the time and like kind of fine and kind of not. But also we're jumping in between timelines, and we're getting to see her before the social media fame and how she kind of got there. We've gone through her marriage and her first 2 kids, and she hasn't even started social media yet. Either way, in her head, she's just crazy. Like, she should just be going to therapy. I think that she might be like a narcissist or even like a psychopath or a sociopath. I don't know what the difference is, but insane. And anyone who says that this is not horror is lying. I feel like this is horror. It's just like a literary horror. I've read literary horrors that have had less horror in them, honestly. This is crazy. But I really am liking being in the narrator's head. Again, she's crazy. But this is going really well. I think I need to bake bread today too. I'm not ready to commit to a sourdough loaf, but I think maybe like a regular bread or a banana bread would really fit with this. And I love banana bread, so that would be good. Also, yesterday we hung up these that I made. You can probably zoom in. And I think they're so cute. Every day NASA does a picture, and these 3 different days are significant for my husband and I. So I think that's really fun and cute of me. Plus, Staples was having a sale on their like bigger prints because printing posters is expensive, but not half off. Anyway, this is going really well. I'm really hoping to finish this today because I really need to move on to my next book. But we are going to bake bread, hopefully. I have finished Yesteryear, and I'm also going to try to make bread. 1, because it's topical, but 2, because I also like bread. I'm not trying sourdough. That sounds too complicated for me. I'm scared of a sourdough starter. You have to like keep it alive and take care of it. That's too much for me. My cats and my dog, that's enough. This is the only apron that I have. Usually when I bake, I don't do an apron. This came from a Twisted Retreat box, but it felt weird not having an apron for this. I thought about like 10 seconds about a blonde wig too, but that's a little bit too much of a commitment for me. But I ended up giving Yesteryear 4.25 stars. I really liked it. It was more horrific than I thought it was going to be, but not in an in-your-face, blood and guts gore kind of way, in like a slower, more like psychological way. I'm really interested to see how the movie's going to go, and if Anne Hathaway is going to like play her. I would imagine not. But I think Anne Hathaway has like endorsed the movie or is making the movie happen or something. But as we follow Natalie, she's just so mean. And again, if she would have went to therapy, like a good therapist, this book wouldn't have happened. She would have been fine. But she is so awful to every person in her life. So they stop being kind. Nobody likes her. She doesn't have any friends. Nobody's on her side. Her marriage is loveless. Her kids don't particularly like her except when they're really little and don't know any better. No friends, just followers. And that's kind of just all she cares about is this attention and fame. And then finding her in the 1800s timeline, people don't really like her there either. And they think she's crazy. And she's just thinking about how she can get back. And doesn't really seem to care about these kids either. And we get a couple of reveals that are very heartbreaking. Like, this is a sad book, but also it's hard to feel bad for Natalie specifically because she's awful. I don't think she necessarily deserves everything that she gets to her, but she also asked for some of it. It's a tough one. And as far as our bread goes, I'm making regular like white bread, and I think our yeast is active. It bubbled like it was supposed to, so that's a good sign. We're going to continue with it. I will try and get the jawline angle so that I am in line, what you're expecting from me for this tradwife content, I'm sure. Or I'm honestly not that great at cooking, but I do like baking. But bread is a whole nother beast to me. Or so into Tradwife by Sarah Langan. This one doesn't come out in the US until the fall, late summer, but it is out in the UK. So I pre-ordered the UK copy, but then I got it on NetGalley. So now I just have it. But we're following Jenny, who is a very much like down on her luck journalist, feels like early 2000s. Other than this is like about Tradwife influencers. Her boyfriend one day just took literally everything in the apartment except for one piece of furniture and just left. And she hasn't replaced any of the furniture. I think she's still hoping to get it back. And she also wrote this piece about her life that was very, I guess, salacious kind of. And the editor was like, oh my God, this is going to be great. This is wonderful. And then she got fired for it. So really just down on her luck. But then she kind of was like, What if I write a story about the Black Swan Farm, which obviously we're talking about the ballerina farm here, but it's about Mia. She's an influencer. I think she has like 7 kids and they live on this farm and they're doing like a Freaky Friday situation for some reason where Jenny goes onto the farm and lives there for a week, helps take care of the kids, helps do the chores. I don't fully understand why that's the road that she took, but that's what's happening. And it's almost going gothic in the direction of weird things start to happen to her on this farm. She's smelling weird smells. Obviously, it's not, her life's not as perfect as it is on screen, but it's like seems to be even worse. Like Mia may be like hurting her children, so everything isn't like quite as perfect, and these accidents happen that are supposed to be seen as cute, but if they are happening intentionally, it's a lot more malicious. And this has been my least favorite so far out of what I've read, but it's not bad. I also think it's interesting that we're not in the head of the trad wife, which is the first book that it's been that way. And I don't think good things are going to happen to our girl Jenny. She's not a perfect person, but she's not like totally hateable. She doesn't seem to be unreliable, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen to her. Every book that I read, I feel so bad for these kids, and similar things do happen. Like there's the stories of the influencers that live in California that moved out of California because their kids started getting rights. And I think there's the one family that moved to like Tennessee, and they're going to pass a law there too where kids get rights. So they're going to have to move. Everyone's going to end up in Utah is what's going to happen. As far as this goes, it's going okay. I think it's my least favorite so far, and I'm really done reading about trad wives, even though this is more horror. And let's talk about the 2 covers too. The US cover does not scream horror to me. It feels more like yesteryear, but this one looks very horror to me. So one of these covers is actually just correct and one of them is not correct. And with the way that it's going, I think this one might be correct, but we'll see. If you're wondering, the bread was pretty good. We ate like half the loaf after it was done. It was like a dessert situation. It was so good. And I have also started, I forgot to update you when we talked about it, but I've also finished Trad Wife by Sarah Langan. I think this cover matches better after finishing it, and it's definitely the more like horror-y one that I've read so far. It's the first like confirmed for sure supernatural one, and it was fine. I'm giving it like 3.5 stars. What ended up happening is they did like a Freaky Friday situation. Initially, not literally. Goes to Black Swan Farm and goes to help Mia, who is the trad wife, the famous one, take care of her kids, take care of her farm, and just kind of hang out as she writes this article that is supposedly supposed to save like her career, everything. It's supposed to fix everything. But things start happening as she's there. She starts losing her hair. She starts seeing weird things. Mia's not exactly who she thought she'd be, but also it's just acting really strangely and oddly. And then they end up, like, kind of spoilers if you want to read this, literally swapping bodies. It's someone called the Yellow Man, and he feeds off of all of these bad things that happen. And Mia isn't the first person who's taken Mia's role. And now she has powers. She's like super decrepit looking, but can hide that and still look beautiful or look like Jenny. She's actually taken over Jenny's life, which is really creepy. Like, this ended up being really creepy, but it just kind of didn't do it for me personally. I don't think it's a bad book. It's just not for me personally. And not super heavy on the trad wife thing, because it did go so supernatural and we weren't in a trad wife head. Although Jenny does start thinking that way because of the Yellow Man and what he's done to her. This was okay. It was fine. I also have quite a long drive ahead of me today because I'm going to Killer Reader Weekend, which is in Bend, and that's about 3.5 hours away from me. So I'm hoping I can finish most of Trad Wife, not by Sarah Langan, but by Saratoga Schaefer on the drive, because otherwise I'm going to be really busy and this vlog is not going to go up when I want it to. And you probably won't see any of that because I'm hoping to do a separate vlog. But Saratoga Schaefer's Trad Wife is about a trad wife who purposefully gets impregnated by a demon or the devil so that she can have a baby for views, because her husband's, I guess, not doing it for her. I think the overarching theme of all of these books has been trad wife, yes. Trad husband, no. Bad husband. And are we surprised? Trad Wife by Saratoga Schaefer is the one that I've been most excited about, so I'm really hoping that I love this one. Possibly a 5-star. Let's find out. Okay, now I'm like 80% of the way into Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer. And if she doesn't kill her husband, I'm gonna be so pissed. She had the demon baby, and things are going well. It seems like as well as things can go when you have a demon baby. She's getting huge. She has been feeding off of blood and skin from her mom, but now needs more than that. So they killed the annoying neighbor, which I don't think the neighbor deserved to die, but also, who are you to play God? So how do you get to decide that? But the neighbor is like a drunk and super overbearing and like grating and annoying, but you don't deserve to die for being grating and annoying. But she's also kind of given up like the trad wife influencer stuff, and I like that. I like that part about it. I think this might be my favorite one. She used to be like a woman of science too, and as soon as she had like a little bit of critique, gave that up, which I do find annoying. But she's having a hard time with the cognitive dissonance of being a trad wife, but also having a science background. So I'm liking that that's developing, and her husband sucks. Like, it's almost like a caricature of a shitty husband, but I'm still having fun hating him, so it's fine. And now I have to go pick up people from the airport, so I'm gonna go do that, but I will give you my final thoughts on Tradwife. I have finished Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer, and this is by far my favorite of the vlog. This is so good. It's so bonkers. It's really fun. It's really good for her. I liked pretty much everything about this. I had such a good time. I think that it focused enough on the social media aspect, but not too much. It focused enough on motherhood, but not too much. And the horror was absolutely there. I thought it was so fun to hate her husband. He was so hateable. He didn't have any redeeming qualities, but it wasn't too much of a caricature, so that I was like, this is kind of stupid. I was just having a phenomenal time. I loved this. I don't know if it's quite 5 stars though. I've been thinking about it. I have finished this a few days ago now, and the more I think about it, the more I liked it, but for now it's a 4.75, which is still obviously great. The best one of the vlog. I love this so much. I'm going to be recommending this all the time. This feels kind of how Night Bitch felt to me, because I'm not super into motherhood horror. Tradwife horror felt just like slightly different than motherhood horror, but there was just something about this one that really resonated with me. I loved it, and it was so wacky. Let me know if this was a good time. Put a pregnant emoji or a demon emoji, whatever you would like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!